Are you an established small business owner or aspiring entrepreneur? Would you like professional advice to help your business grow and succeed? Well, look no further. The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is the territory's #1 resource to move your business forward. Enjoy no-cost advising, low-cost training, and technical assistance from experts in both the public and private sectors. The VISBDC is nationally accredited and sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration. Visit us at our locations on St. Thomas, St. John, or St. Croix, and follow us on social media at VISBDC. For easy access to all our training and networking events, be sure to join our newsletter and download the VISBDC app. The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, here to help your business start, grow, and succeed.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the VISPDC's hosting of the Business Development Series. Today's session is entitled Weathering the Storm, a Business Continuity Framework. Today, we will educate small business owners on how to build a strong business continuity plan. In this webinar, we will explore the essential elements of a business continuity framework, empowering you to navigate unforeseen challenges and ensure long-term stability. Today's lead presenter is VISBDC State Director John Morasco. Before returning to the Virgin Islands as the VISBDC State Director, John had many years working as a certified business advisor in Iowa, Washington State, and the Virgin Islands. In addition to the years with the SBDC, John has been a successful business owner, college professor, and nursing home administrator, and worked in corporate America for more than 35 years. He has spent most of his career working his primary job and teaching at many colleges nationwide. John has extensive experience managing restaurants, hotels, assisted living, and nursing facilities. He also assisted with his family restaurant and owned a college consulting business and a janitorial business, which he later sold. John holds a Bachelor of Science in Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism from Florida International University and a Master of Public Administration in Long-Term Care from the University of New Haven. So without further ado, State Director Morasco, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thank you. So we are on our way to talk about business continuity, which is, a lot of times I get people saying that's not the most exciting topic, but it's a really important one. So we have a small group here today. Please feel free to come, to send messages if you would like, and you can send that in the chat. We'll talk about, we'll get questions at the end. But if you have something, because it's a small group, feel free to jump in and ask these questions if you would like. So when we're looking at understanding the basics of business continuity, and when we're looking at that, this is I believe, Ben Franklin comment, is by failing to prepare, you prepare to fail. And one of the big things that we have, and we have an open office here, so if you hear a little bit of conversation, not to worry. So as we're going along and you're looking at what we're doing, business continuity, what we're doing is, what matters is it protects the organization's reputation. That's one of the first things. Then we're looking at it reduces financial losses, maintains the customer trust and regulatory compliance, and provides a competitive advantage. So for the rest of the presentation, I am going to take me off I'm taking myself out of the picture So you will hear my voice. I want it this way, it's easier to concentrate on the material I'm putting up. But if you need anything, just again, put something in the chat. You can come off, mute yourself, and just ask a quick question. That's the fun of having a small group. So anyway, as we're looking at continuity, a lot of people will say, why do I need continuity? And, I have to say, last year, one of our goals was having and really getting out in the community and working with businesses to create a disaster readiness plan as we got into the hurricane season. Well, that had to be one of the toughest things we ever had to do. We were working with businesses saying, what is your plan? What happens if? And, a lot of times we have gone through hurricanes. So they're saying, oh, we're ready for it. Something, you're never really ready to handle these types of things. So as we're looking at the continuity plan, it's for you to have a plan, be resilient, know your risks, and then practice your plan. Those are the 4 key elements, but we're going to go through and just talk a little bit at first about the terminology and why it's important. One of our colleagues, I call it our sister facility, Apex, is fabulous. They do the government contracting. And one of the things I've noticed, and this is my observation, my opinion, is that when I'm looking at government contracts, as far as I can see, they really insist that a company has a continuity plan as far as if you want to do work with a government contract. And I will check that out. I see Jamari's online. If I'm not correct on that, you guys let me know. But it's important for you. How are you going to run your business when things come up? And we'll go through a whole bunch of different scenarios that could happen. But when we're talking about business continuity, it refers to planning and preparation you take to ensure that your organization can continue to operate or quickly resume critical functions during and after a disruption, whether it's caused by a natural disaster, cyber attacks, pandemics, or any system failures that we have. Last night we had WAPA. We were on a rotation for a while. I was fortunate. My rotation didn't happen to come, so I think they fixed everything. But these really do affect everything that's going on with your business. So business resilience is the ability for the business to quickly adapt, the organization to ensure that you're taking the necessary steps to identify the impacts and potential losses. Again, you're being proactive. You're not waiting for a disaster or an issue to happen. You, as a smart business owner, are looking at possible contingencies. And so when we're doing that, it's safeguarding, it's protecting your assets, safeguarding the people, the information, the systems, and your infrastructure. And it's also, one of the most important things is it's ensuring your stakeholder confidence, maintaining trust with your customers, employees, and your partners, because you're working as hard as you can. If we have that hurricane, if we have, a lengthy power outage, some things you don't have control over. However, you have control over how you're going to work with that, how you're going to run your operation to make sure there's as little disruption as possible. So some definitions that I just like to really go through. And again, it's amazing when we're looking at all the different initials that we have. We have the business continuity plan, and they have BCP. So keeping your business operating in the event of a disaster recovery is keeping critical information technology functions running in the event of a disaster, contingency plans, covering the combination of disaster recovery with a continuity plan. and business impact analysis is, and assessing the time critical of IT systems and operational functions to define recovery time, and then the recovery time. That's a lot, especially for a busy business owner. If you're running your business and you say, oh, I don't have time to do this. I've owned 3 small businesses. I always made time to make sure that certain operational things were happening. And to make sure that if we were to have a problem, we were ready to move along. And I think that training comes from when I was a nursing home administrator and also a hotel manager. We go through disaster drills. We go through, especially in the nursing home, an evacuation drill. And when you have 120 residents and 3/4 of them are in wheelchairs or are not ambulatory, it's critical that the staff, everybody knows what their function is so we can keep everybody safe. And I worked for a major hotel corporation where there was a fire in one of the hotels, and it's just unfortunately, there were 23 people that did not make it out of the building. But it could have been a lot worse if the organization did not go through how to handle these emergencies, these disasters, because they knew what to do. And this is what's important as a business owner. Even if you're a small, very small business, it's just you, maybe 1 or 2 other people. You've really got to know what to do, how to do it, and especially if you want to keep the revenue coming in the door. So, types of risks in business operations. Some of these we have, some of these we don't. But the natural disaster earthquakes, I keep getting notifications daily about small earthquakes, and thank goodness they're small. Floods, the other day driving home, just was amazing with all the flooding. Hurricanes, drought, twisters, we don't really have that here. And where I was living in my home in Iowa, that happens, the tornadoes all the time. We have, so we're set for businesses. We know what to do when a tornado is sounded. Tsunami, mudslides, volcanic eruptions. Thank goodness we don't have those, and then we have types of risks, man-made. You have wars, riots, terrorism, power outages, arson, equipment sabotage. You have epidemic, you have pollution and food poisoning. All these different types of risks that any business has. Do they all apply to all of us? Absolutely. But, technology, database corruption, hacking. Hacking is a huge issue today. Viruses, people with sending emails that they're trying to scam you and trying to get your information. And, some of them are really sophisticated. So, what is it that you are, what are you doing to protect yourselves? What are you looking for? Internet worms, that's kind of we have other terms that are used right now. They're getting more sophisticated. And infrastructure failures. Others, bushfires, looting, key personnel, sudden death, workplace issues, key vendors, suppliers, if there's a problem. And right now we're going through, it's going to be very interesting to see. And again, I'm not advocating one way or another. I think that's important to say, but there's a lot of talk about tariffs and what could the possible outcome be if items are costing more to get them in. So that's just, for all of you, I think there's a term I use, and it's called environmental scanning. You as business owners should really be doing this every day. When I'm teaching my college courses to the business students, one of the first things I teach them is, yes, you're students or a business owner, you have your business, but you've got to bring your head up and look at what's going on around the country, around the world. Because right now, if there is, let's say, if there's a political outbreak or political upheaval over in the Middle East, And that could affect oil production. If I am a business that's heavily dependent on oil or gasoline, even though that's going on across the ocean, what effect could it have for me in the near future? So these are things just for you to please keep an eye on. So why business continuity and recovery planning matters: financial losses, unexpected disruptions that can really severely impact your revenue, your cash flow, and your long-term financial stability. One of the things, and I encourage all of you with the, and with the use of SBDC, Apex, SCORE, we have all of us, and everything that we do for business, most people forget about cash flow. So many times I hear people go, oh, it's my profit and loss said that I made money. However, I can't pay my bills. A lot of that, there are several reports I'm not going to go into. It's not a financial review that we're doing today. But if you're not watching your cash flow, if you don't understand how cash flow works, your profit and loss, which is your net income before taxes, may show that you have money. But if your cash flow is, and that affects different accounts, it really makes a huge difference. So with that said, though, if you don't have a continuity recovery plan, or if something happens, what are the potential financial losses? You need to be able to start predicting and looking at, and I encourage you to take, okay, if this happens, and again, it's a lot of what ifs. You're looking into the crystal ball. So as you're going through, as you're looking at all these, yes, I know it's looking into, you're projecting what could happen. And some people go, oh, that's negative. Well, no, it's not. It's getting you prepared. It's like that issue that I was talking about with doing the evacuation drills at the nursing homes. We work on it. We look at it. What is the potential? How do we keep our residents safe? So it's doing the same thing with your business. How do you keep your business safe? By understanding what's going on. Reputation damage, trust once lost is hard to regain. So if you have, we have clients, partners, and the public may lose confidence in you. I will not mention where, but we were out a group of us were out to lunch yesterday, and there was kind of a scene going on at the establishment where we were having lunch. And, it's like, I'm not sure I would go back there very quickly. Okay. It did not involve me, but it was just how things, in my opinion, were handled. So you want to keep your reputation in really good condition. High risk of business failure, as far as why the recovery and the planning the continuity planning is important, is 90% of companies without a business continuity and recovery plan fail within 1 year of a major disaster. That's an amazing fact. Okay. And that is based on actual statistics, but 90% of companies without a business continuity and recovery plan do not make it if there's a disaster. So really, you want to watch what's going on. You want to understand, again, you're looking into the crystal ball. Why am I doing this? I want my business to succeed. You work really hard to get a business up and running. We're small business owners. As I said, I've owned 3 of them. And the first one I did, which was the restaurant, I did not have all the experience. I almost lost that business because I was making mistakes. I did not plan properly. Boy, did I learn fast. Okay. Insurance requirements. Many insurers require proof of a continuity planning to provide or maintain coverage. I do believe this is going to get a lot more critical. So if you have, I hope everybody here has insurance. Okay. I encourage, if you don't have insurance, you should have some kind of coverage. I know for, again, my company, it cost me about $600, maybe $700, and I had a $2 million policy. I had $1 million and an umbrella policy for $1 million. So But for me, what I foresee coming, again, I'm looking into the crystal ball, is because of all of our natural disasters that we've been having, tornadoes, flooding, all these things going on around, with the environmental changes, I suspect insurance companies are going to require that you have proof and you may of a continuity plan to get or maintain your coverage. That's a personal opinion. We'll see what happens in the future. Regulatory compliance. Failure to plan may result in non-compliance with industry or government regulations. Again, what I was saying, we have, and if anybody is going into government contracting, if they want to do that in the future, and I really encourage you, see our, talk to our, I call it our sister organization, Apex, because they're so good at helping you and what's required in getting government contracts. So, what is the regulatory compliance that you may, are you in compliance? And at the bottom one here, it just makes good business sense. People, you're protecting your people, the processes and profits is simply as smart as you're being a smart leader. So again, these are many of the reasons why continuity and recovery planning, they do matter. And as we're going through today, you're going to see it sometimes jumps a little bit. We go from continuity to recovery. It all comes full circle in the end. What you're looking for is having a complete document. Okay, so the key points as to why you should consider doing a business impact analysis. This is one of the phases that you need to do to get this done. And they have the acronym BIA. We're so good at acronyms around, aren't we? So the business impact analysis, the BIA, helps the owners to, one, better understand how their business operates. Okay, when you're doing the plan, you start to understand. One of the things that we do when we're helping people at the SBDC do a business plan is that for me, we usually start with the financials, because all of a sudden they start to really get a picture of revenue in, expenses, and how their entire operation works. So better understand how their business operates is what we were just saying. Understand the likely impact of a disruption. So as you're putting this together, doing the impact analysis, confirm dependencies. And with that, it's referring to the interconnectedness of various business functions and processes or systems, internal, external, and how they all relate to each other. If I'm using a point of sale system and how that relates to what I'm doing the business and, the information that I'm taking in, what happens if that's disrupted? How am I going to record the sales? How am I going to get the money? All of these, so how everything is interdependent. Also, your vendors, people that are shipping you materials. These are, you need to confirm and understand how this all works. My standing joke, and this is not, I'm not picking on anybody, is I really get a kick out of if there's a power failure, being in a store, it doesn't matter. It's somebody that has cash registers, hotels, restaurants, anybody that's, a retail store, and the power goes down, and all of a sudden people are used to ringing up things and giving change, and the computer or the cash register is telling them how much change to give. Well, sometimes it's fascinating to watch that people can't count back change because they're so dependent on the technology that we have today. I had that in the hotel business. It was like, if we had, sometimes the system would go down for doing our night audit, and I had people checking out the next day. What do I tell them? Oh, sorry, our system's down. We can't check you out. So you have to have contingency plans set up for that. Set recovery priorities. Okay, how, if this happens, what are the priorities that we have for recovery? Develop an effective plan and establish the goals for plan testing. So many times it's like people write a business plan and then they put it on the shelf. They don't look at it. People write a strategic plan. They put it on the shelf and don't look at it. You're in business, you're business owners. Successful business people will constantly be checking and evaluating their business. Those are the ones that will really flourish and be better at what they're doing. Hopefully in the long run, that they will stay successful. Will you take a temporary hit? Yeah, I'm thinking back to Irma and Maria. I think all of us that were here, we saw what happened, and those that had not done any planning, a lot of them just went away. People that had some kind of plan in place really fared out better than others. So the process, and here's, again, we're talking about what's going on with a business continuity plan. Process is prevention. Okay, how are you going to protect yourself? Preparedness, how are you going to prepare? If there is an issue, if there is something that comes up, an earthquake, if there were a flood, if there was a hurricane, your response to that, and then the process is recovery. So the continuity plan is all of these pieces, and that's important to remember. And to drill down a little deeper, the risk is if what you have effects on products, services, your facilities, supply chains, suppliers, customers, employees, contractors. So many of these are all impacted, and with whatever your business, if you have a supply chain that you have to worry about, if you're a service industry, the products and your services, how are you going to do that? So these are all things that you have the possibility that you need to start assessing. You need to look at what's happening with that. So as we're looking at the risk assessment, examples of preventative actions that I love to go through is like IT and cybersecurity, regular data backups, installing firewalls, employee cyber training. That's huge in this day and age, making sure, operations, your equipment maintenance, your schedule, cross-training of staff, supplier diversification. What happens if one of your suppliers goes down and you're totally dependent on that one supplier? Do you have a backup? One of the things that, again, I'm going back to my experience in the restaurant business, is that I had like Cisco Systems, really good food supplier, tried to get me to be exclusively with Cisco. And I said, absolutely not. I can't do that, because what happens if their employees go on strike, and I haven't built relationships with other suppliers. That's, again, my philosophy. How you all do it is up to you, but I encourage being diverse in how you're getting all of your equipment and your products that you need to run your business. Human resources, the workplace safety, again, I can't emphasize the training. If you have employees, you need to be able to train and make sure that they have an understanding what's going on there. Succession planning if needed, mental health support programs, all of these, it's going to be up to you what you want to put into human resources, but I really do encourage that you look at that. Natural disasters, we were just talking about, reinforcing physical infrastructure, storing emergency supplies, evacuation drills. I know that, last year when hurricane season came in, I had my pantry, I had everything stocked, extra gas for the generators. That's what I do. I plan ahead just because I don't want surprises. Legal and compliance, regulatory audits, compliance training, updating legal documentation. And again, in this day and age of electronics, it's great. We can find our business license pretty easily. But, the question I have is like Irma and Maria, the entire system is down and we can't electronically pull up our business license, and you want to do work with FEMA or SBA. Howard, do you have a backup copy? I always keep a paper copy safe in a waterproof, fireproof box, just in case I need it. So as you're planning, look and decide what you're looking to look at. So likelihood is, when I'm doing the risk assessment, is it high, medium, or low? So what's the likelihood of any of these happening? Consequence, again, assess for you. Is it high, medium, low? If this happens, what's the consequence to my business? Priority, high, minimum, or low. I think the most important thing that, and I've been kind of talking about this, is preventative action and your options. Avoid, reduce, transfer, accept. Those are the 4 areas. But when we're looking at doing prevention actions, have you done your risk assessment? Identify potential risks that could disrupt your operation. This kind of covers everything. So it's a little bit of, again, getting to this point of preventive action. Preventive strategy, and you want to develop actions to reduce the probability of the impact of each risk. That's a lot of work. We can have flooding, we can have earthquakes, we can have tsunamis, we can have hurricanes. Do I need do I need to do a report for each one of them? It could be. Okay, there's going to be a lot of overlap. Once you do one, it should be pretty easy to do the other. But a tsunami result could be much different than an earthquake. So these are things that you need to assess. And then monitoring, you want to continuously assess the effectiveness and update strategies as necessary. Really important. Just don't let it sit on the shelf. You're business owners. You want success in your business. You want to have your business grow. Well, that's important that you look at that and you develop the actions to really make sure that you stay on and you're monitoring that. And integration, and what you're looking for is embed positive actions, preventative actions, preventative actions into policies, training, and operational procedures. So the last slide, the last little blurb that I have there in green is, do you have plans A, B, or C, or do you have A, B, and C? It's really, what is your contingency? What are you going to do? There's a lot of work, yes. Okay, and I'm not gonna say it's easy, but once it's done, it's done. Reviewing it, keeping it updated is not too hard to do. And I just see something here. Very good. I was just seeing one of the comments in here, and it was saying, I definitely agree with diversification, especially given our location. Bravo, great comment that came in there. Very good. Thank you. Every now and then I do look and see I have a comment, so it's like, wow, that's pretty good for me. So business impact analysis. Let's see, how am I doing time-wise? We have. I'm just making sure I'm doing our timing correct here. So business impact analysis, what we're looking for with this is a systematic process used to identify and evaluate the potential effects, financial, operational, reputational, legal, and regulatory, which we were talking about, of disruptions to critically curtail our business operations. It's a fundamental component of an organization to be doing this plan. You really want to see what's happening. So the objectives of the business impact analysis. Again, you're looking into the crystal ball, everybody. There's no right or wrong answer. You're looking to say, what if this happens? What if that happens? And a lot of times that's difficult for a business. I'm sitting here, I'm trying to get my sales out, I'm trying to restock the shelves, whatever, I'm trying to get the people checked in and out of the hotel. I'm trying to feed. Yeah, it's really busy, but you need, in my opinion, you as a successful business owner, you need to start looking at and be prepared. What could the impact be? So again, the objective of the business impact analysis, or the BIA, is identify critical business functions and processes. So, what's critical in your business? Determine the impact of a disruption on those functions over time. Okay, establish recovery time objectives, and that's part of that priority. Looking at the impact of the losses, and then support your resources plan, the recovery time, what it's going to take. What are your recovery strategies if this were to happen, based on the impact, severity, and the tolerance? Again, you're looking into the crystal ball, and I hope that's not scaring all of you. It shouldn't. This is just the reality of being a business owner, and it's really important that you be able to decide what is important within your business and what do I need to be prepared for. And the beauty of this is, if nothing happens, it's like last year. So many people getting ready for, they said, a brutal hurricane season. Well, whoever was looking after us, all these storms went south of us, they went north of us, but we really only had one here in St. Thomas, one tropical depression that I recall. I could be wrong on that, but we had a lot of different weather, but nothing really serious, thank goodness. So, you say, I did all that prep and nothing happened. Well, that's good. Congratulations on that. I think that's an important piece right there. So the basic plan, the common elements, and a lot of this we've been talking about already. It's the roles and responsibilities. Who do you have acting? Is it you as the manager? Do you have a team set up? One of the things, if you're a little bit larger organization, get your employees involved with a disaster management team. Don't try and take this on all by yourself. I mean, if you're a one-person operation, yes, you are wearing all the hats, but get a team involved with this. And the continuity of operations activities, you have declaration of disasters, damage assessment, equipment salvage, recovery process, continuity processes, and I love this, the postmortem update for the business plan, or the continuity plan. What we're looking at is declaration. I'm going to just say, there are times it could be a little bit later, a declaration of disaster could come out. I think we had one in St. Croix, came out, it was last year, it was a certain amount of time, it was from the government, and it was about drought. Okay, so there were some really interesting things that we could, you need to be looking for these. Is someone declaring that there is a disaster? Your own damage assessment, your insurance company most likely is going to need something like that. And again, I always encourage you, any business owner, have a camera ready at all times. I know we have our phones today, which is a really good thing, but have a camera ready. And I say that not only for this, I always say, if somebody were to slip and fall or trip over a wire, take pictures, okay? Just document everything that you can and keep it moving that way. All right. So response, how you and your team respond. So again, we were just talking about having, and I encourage, if you have a little bit larger operation, do you have an incident response team? So put one together. Out of that team, do you have a team leader? And then the response from the team, within that, who is going to assess, the assessor within that team? Who is going to assess what the damages are? Do they understand? Have you trained them to do an assessment? Just don't say, okay, well, we're going to have you come in and tell us what happened. You need to train your employees. You need to train that person into how to do an assessment. Spokesperson, really important. When you have the media showing up at your door, if they show up, you really want to make sure that you have the right person ready to respond to those person and, to that people. If you have the governor, a regional director from FEMA or SBA come up, who is your spokesperson? Have that figured out in advance. Okay, and if you're going to let people coach them in how they're going to respond. And then others with commitment that crisis will be at the top of their and let's see, and only priority. So who is your team? How are you doing? And you as owner, you get to handle all of that information. So one of the things I really encourage you to have is a disaster emergency kit for your business. Not only at home, this works at home too, but water, food, blankets, your checklist printed, event logs. And that's important, as they put here, for the insurance company. Before the storm, here's what we did. During the storm, here's what happened. After the storm, here's the damage. You need to have an event log that is detailed. Okay. And again, in our day and age, it's pretty good that we have recording devices on our cell phones. So it makes it a lot easier, but you're going to have to, excuse me, you're going to have to convert that, because the insurance company I love them dearly. No, yes, no. I guess this is a personal observation. They will do whatever they can not to pay you. Okay, and there are a lot of companies that are great. I had at my home, there was a sewer backup, city cost, and my insurance company was wonderful. It cost $28,000 just to get the basement corrected. Okay, but in that case, I had the documentation, I had what I needed, but I also had a really, really good insurance company. And that was one of the things I did my investigation and my research before buying insurance for the home and purchasing insurance for the home, because I wanted to make sure I had the right company. So same thing with your business. Somebody may have a really good price. Investigate. Know who the insurance companies are. Again, I'm not picking on any, you notice I didn't mention any insurance company, but they're all kind of different levels and different reputations. You as the business owner need to take the initiative to really understand that. Personnel with the authority to invoke the plan. So if you have the plan in place, you have it ready to go. Make sure that there's a chain of command on who would take the next step. It's like when I'm out of the office, the associate state director, Karen, picks up the reins. If something were to happen here in St. Thomas, because Karen and I are on different islands, we will, there's somebody else that would take charge within the office here in what's going on. So in other words, and the disaster, have an evacuation plan. What are you going to do? They talk about tsunami warnings, and, I lived in Washington State, and we had tsunami warnings all the time, because tsunamis in that part of the world are, in the Northeast, happen quite a bit. And right where I lived, which was in Olympia, Washington, it's right down the inlet. And if we had a tsunami, it would probably wipe out 2/3 of the city. And then strategic communication, your PR person, who are you on Twitter and your media? Make sure you have control of that, and people just not making comments on your behalf. It's your business. You need to be able to make the comments and have control over that. So the recovery, how will you bounce back? So the resumption of business activities. You have the recovery point objectives, they call the RPO, define the maximum tolerable period for which the data might be lost due to an incident. You're looking at your next focus, continuity focus, restore essential operations as quickly as possible, restore the resources. Again, you're looking at all of these, we have the assessment damages, you have the communicate with the stakeholders. You have a recovery team, mobilize your recovery team, address the human aspect, and update your business continuity plan all the time. So there's 7 steps here, and we're going to be sending you a copy of this PowerPoint. But I would really look at this is, yeah, you're doing the plan. What are you going to do if a disaster hits? How are you planning for this? And will it need to be adjusted? I bet you it will. You may say, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And because of things totally out of your control, you're going to have to adjust this on the fly. But again, what is the recovery point objective? If we're looking at resumption of our business, we want to get our business up and running again. What is the focus that we have for continuity? Restoration of resources. What is the timeline? How long is it going to be till the IT systems come back? I don't know. After Maria, I was in St. Croix when Maria hit. I went 5 months without electricity. Okay, does that throw off my plans if I'm trying to do the recovery and what I'm planning on? Yeah, if I didn't predict that it was going to be out that long, I don't think anybody knew it was going to be out that long, in the area of St. Croix where I was. What is the infrastructure? So assessing the damage and the injuries, these are all things. So you have 7 steps. I really encourage you to look at this and to start getting this ready. And especially with this, we're talking about all this in an hour and a half, and saying, oh yes, you should be ready for this. Well, it's not as with what we're covering in an hour and a half. I could do a whole section just on this. I could do an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe even 2 days on putting all these pieces together. So with that said, and don't be afraid to reach out to like our offices, the SBDCs, Small Business Development Center. We have advisors that can help you, they'll coach you on how to put something like this together. So just please be aware of it. Get this information and start working on that plan for yourself. It's really important. So insurance coverage, life insurance for key owners, business interruption insurance, key persons insurance. There are all types of different insurance. And what I was saying, they're not all the same. So you need to know what your insurance coverage is and know it ahead of time. Keep your policy safe. Operation resilience, the backup power systems, alternate suppliers, vendors, your safety stocks of critical inventory. These are all things again, the solution is, again, one size does not fit all. Whatever you feel you need, what is going to keep your operation running? Human capital, cross-trained personnel, leadership, succession plans. What we're looking at here is making sure that, to me, one of the things that was very important, especially when I was in the hotel and nursing home business, was I always had someone trained to replace me so I could move up and take promotions. So I took the time to train the next person, and you should be, who do you want and who do you trust to do the operation if you are not there? If you happen to be away, if there's disaster is you could not get in. So you need to, what is your human capital? Assess it, look at it. And I really encourage you, don't be afraid to start promoting people, but use be very smart in how you're doing this. And I say that because and again, coming from the restaurant industry, I've taught hospitality courses for many, many years. And one of the things that was, they talk about trying to get good managers and the turnovers. There's one organization, famous operation, well-known operation. Their turnover of managers is running about 400% a year. It was. I haven't seen the latest statistics, but I suspect it's still about the same. So what that means that once a quarter, they had to hire and get a new manager in. Why? Because the assessment was very simply, they would take somebody that looked like a good employee, that is a good employee, and they say, oh, we're going to put them into the management position. But they didn't train them. They weren't ready to go. And so they threw them into a management position, and that person lasted for 3-4 months and said, I'm done. I'm out of here. So it's the same thing. What is your, when you're talking about human capital with your business, you want to really grow and have people that are strong in those positions. Technology safeguards your IT, especially, if you haven't taken cybersecurity and know cybersecurity protocols, do it. It is so critical in these days, and especially with what's going on. If you have a business, you can get just absolutely torn apart if somebody gets into your systems, and the cybersecurity and the protocols and the regular data backups and accessing, controlling your monitoring. I can't say enough about that. You as business owners, if you use any technology at all, I would say you really have to spend time and do this. And there are all kinds of courses that are being offered in this. Take them, learn it, because you need to protect yourself. It doesn't take much for someone to, who's been hacked. I actually had a bank account hacked one time. Thank goodness I don't know how they got in or how they got the information, but they did. And the bank was really good, and they replaced everything. So that was good for me. So as we're looking, again, part of this preparedness and monitoring, media and public relations monitoring, fire detection, protection systems, emergency response plans, all of this being prepared and monitoring, and what we're saying, monitor what's going on in public relations. That can tear you apart in no time at all. Okay, legal and financial tools. You have living trusts, estate planning. And this is where I always say, talk to an attorney. What do you need for this? You want to protect yourself. So when you're looking at the legal, talk to an attorney, as I just said, it's so important to do. Take away. So a robust risk mitigation strategy combines insurance operations, people, technology, legal tools to ensure business continuity and protect stakeholders. Wow, that's a lot. This is what we've been talking. We're kind of coming full circle in this as you look at it. There's so many different pieces, and you as a business owner need to coordinate that. You need to put that all together. Okay. So recovery strategies. With the survival site, I say the dual site. I'm looking at that. It's like, okay, if you have to move something and just have another site, if you need to move something, self-service, transfer work to existing branch, but lesser site. So these are for larger operations. If you're a one person, one office operation, one storefront operation, this may or may not affect you, but it's if you have a storefront that got wiped out because of a flood, do you have something in mind? Where would you move that? How would you be able to close it down for a while? How long is it going to take to get that business back online? So these are all things to look at. Reciprocal agreements with other people, that you're helping me, I'll help you. You have dedicated alternative sites. working from home, well, through COVID, I got used to working at home. I had to say, I really enjoyed working from home. And then after COVID, for a while, I was doing consulting work. And so most of that could be done through Zoom at home. Really enjoyed that too. So you have your suppliers. Do you have external suppliers? How are you going to get the items that that you need? So the strategies, and you want to make sure that you have arrangements made. Don't have this last one, no arrangements done, because if you really want to move your business along and recover, think about this. And I know that, again, I've said it like 6 times. It's looking into the crystal ball. Got it, understand it. But you need to have at least a framework of what you can do. So when you're looking for opportunity in a crisis, what you want to do is, what's out there? What can I consider to be done? Has the market changed? Attracting new customers. So there's in the crisis, is there an opportunity to get new customers? Your reputation, to go out, let's say a reputation, you went out and you were assisting people during the recovery from something. You're building your reputation, community service, get out and be part of the community, support especially make sure you hopefully have a list of all your customers. So support for the existing customers, and have a strategic communication plan. What are you going to do looking for opportunities? How are you going to get the word out? If there's no power for a while, and let's say you're using social media. I love social media. There's so much that can be done there, and so much that you can get out. I chuckle. Google is another part of media that, if somebody doesn't know something, Google is your best friend. If you don't know, go check it out on Google. If you wanted to find out even more information about, the opportunities when we're looking at the continuity plans, Google, see what else is out there. I mean, I'm doing, and as I said, a abbreviated, here's what could happen, but it can really work well. And I'm going to throw out AI. AI is huge, but please be smart. And for those that haven't used AI, a couple of things that I would like to say is that if you use the free version of AI, let's say ChatGPT, and you're using the free version, everything that you put in there is open to anybody to see. So for me, I have ChatGPT, and I have a purchased one that builds on just my information. It does not go public. So there's certain statistics that might, but overall it's protecting you. So if you're going to use any kind of AI system, make sure you understand the ramifications, and make sure that you understand how to keep your privacy set. The other thing that I'm going to just mention is, one of the lenders said to me the other day that one of the newest things is people coming into the banks asking for, they want to get a business loan, and his quote was, they used an AI generated business plan that had nothing to do with what their business and what they were asking. So AI is great. I use it all the time when I'm writing a memo, when I'm writing informational and anything informational. I'll throw it through AI. Even when I'm doing some emails, I'll send it through AI, but then I read it carefully and I make sure it's mine, because there was just an article in the, or I heard it on the radio, whichever. Somebody had written a review, and they mentioned, I think it was 8 books in this article that they wrote in this blog. Well, it turns out, I think 6 of them didn't exist. They had the author and the journalist used AI to produce this article, and they didn't do their fact checking. So again, AI is the newest. We're going to have coming up here, we have something, it's called AI University. we are going to, the SPDC, the whole America's SPDC and ours here, we're going to be doing a program on working with clients and using AI and how to use it. That's not quite here yet, but it's coming very soon. So test the plan. Okay, really, really important. And as you're looking at this, make sure the plan works. Review it, review the risk assessment regularly. Don't write it, put it on the shelf and wait for the hurricane to hit you. And then afterwards saying, oh, well, this didn't work. Things changed. Addresses changed, people moved, the staff's completely different. So what you want to do is test the plan, review it, set it up that you review it several times a year, twice a year. Train your people in what the plan is. What is a continuity plan? Train your people in what the plan looks like. And what that's going to do for you is you're training your staff, you're going to become the expert in creating these plans. And engage your stakeholders, the people, and the stakeholders can be your employees, it can be people you work with in the community, it can be the government. These are all stakeholders. And then conduct rehearsals and exercises. It's a type of we put type of test here, and I'm not sure exactly why I put that there. Forgive me on that. But do the rehearsals and the exercises. Again, when the reality hits, and I'm going back to that hotel that we worked with and this was a hotel in Chicago. 23 people did not make it out of the building. However, if we did not have the plans in place, it could have been a lot worse. Okay, because everybody knew what to do immediately and how to handle it. So this is, and that was the outcome, although it was terrible, could have been, I will just tell you, it's a 2,000 room hotel. So you can just imagine the devastation if everybody didn't know what they were doing. Okay. So as we're looking, in summary, I have a couple of different summaries here that we look at. Now's a great opportunity to do your gut check on the business readiness, readiness for bad news. Effective crisis management is not specific to what happens after the incident. It incorporates everything you've done to prepare for it. Invest in that time now, and it will serve a tremendous amount. It will save you a tremendous amount of money, and if something actually happens. Because when you think it can't happen or it can't be worse than the last time, it does. So get ready for it. People were saying that it was like, again, I lived on St. Croix when Maria hit, and I really didn't know if I was going to make it through the night. That was kind of a terrifying night. And then the aftermath of what happened. So you need to be ready for it. So as we're looking, and again, in my summary, know the risks, have a plan, practice the plan, update the plan regularly. There are resources available. We have FEMA here, we have FEMA will most likely be coming in, SBA, Small Business Administration. I will let you know, small business, and a lot of times people say, I want to get an SBA loan. Small Business Administration does not lend the money except in a disaster. That's when money comes directly from the SBA. If somebody wants an SBA loan, what happens is that they'll go to an SBA lender, one of the banks who handles SBA loans. You'll do all the paperwork. If your bank thinks it's creditworthy and it can be sent up to SBA, they forward it to SBA, and then the SBA comes back and tells the bank, go ahead and lend the money and we will guarantee. They'll guarantee a certain amount back to the bank if you default. So when we're looking at this, you can't control the disasters. You can't control, there's a lot we can't control. You can't control the weather. So as you're looking at this, what you want, for a business continuity plan you're looking at it that it strengthens your business by ensuring that you can withstand and recover from a disruption, whether caused by natural disasters, cyber attacks, pandemics, or system failures. The summary, I'm just going to summarize what I'm looking at for you as we kind of wind down from today, then we'll go into questions. So your number one goal is to minimize operational downtime. A plan that outlines specific procedures for maintaining or quickly resuming critical operations. This minimizes revenue loss and service interruptions during crisis in most cases. I can't, I would love to say I guarantee it, but in most cases, that's what's going to happen. So that was the first one. It minimizes operational downtime. Two, it protects assets and data. When you have a plan, it includes, you want to have the protocols for safeguarding essential assets, including facilities, equipment, digital data, and reducing the risk of irreversible damage or losses. The third one I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. The third one is building your stakeholder confidence. Customers, investors, and your partners are more likely to trust and engage with business that has had a clear plan for surviving adverse situations. And enhancing your employee preparedness. Employees are trained and informed about their roles and what they're supposed to do. Supporting regulatory compliance. Many industries require continuity plans and compliance with legal regulatory standards, helping avoid fines and legal issues. And that's what I was talking a little bit about with government contracts earlier. So preserves brand reputation. When you're looking at this quick and effective response during a crisis, it reduces the negative publicity, and you just don't want negative publicity if you can get around that. It strengthens risk management. So when you're looking, how do I take the being vulnerable out of that and mitigate, I have mitigation strategies and promoting proactive rather than reactive risk management. So in the long run, as we finish all of this, the business continuity plan is not just a safeguard. It's a strategic asset that ensures long-term stability, competitiveness, and resilience in an unpredictable world. I love that last line. That one is a quote from one of the readings I had done, that conclusion. I just really like that. What you're looking at, it's unpredictable. I was talking about streamlining and doing environmental scanning. So keep on top of what's happening out there. Know what's happening. So this is our contact information. I have, we're done a little. I'm done a little bit early, but open for any questions. And really appreciate everybody that was here listening to this. And really thank you. And Sharika, who does our amazing job here at the SBDC here in St. Thomas, and she does for all of them the marketing that she puts together in these webinars. Thank you, Sharika. And are there any questions? So let's see, one. Okay. Okay, do we have any, you guys can come off mute if you have a question, if you'd like to ask. No questions? All right. Ms. Sharika, are you ready to close it down? Okay. Read information. All right. So I don't know. Yes, Barbara, do you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Okay, good day, everyone. Wonderful session. I do not have a question at the moment. I just want to commend you for a job well done.
Oh, thank you.
My concern is the number of participants, because this is an area of business continuity planning that is very critical, especially in the times that we are entering with, the unpredictability of, climatic conditions and other things, And I believe that our small business people have not really understood the ramifications of not being prepared, adequately prepared. And sometimes we think, okay, because maybe I'm providing just a service, I'm home-based, that I have no need of anything. There's nothing that could harm me. But when you think about things like data loss, and then you also mentioned in terms of diversification, you did not use the term, but it is the single point of failure. That's a term I learned from it's Mr. Little, who's also into the business continuity field, that when you rely on just one, maybe you rely on just one person it could be yourself in the business, or a supplier, as you mentioned, this could cripple your business operations.
Yeah.
That could finish everything for you. Okay, so again, I commend you, and I hope those who are present will send the word, spread the word, that encourage others to join the next time it is being run. Thank you.
Oh, Barbara, thank you so much. The great words. And what's nice is that we do have a recording of this, so we can get the word out. But yeah, it starts with what you're saying. It's a groundswell. Keep getting the word out. And I know for me personally, it was I just found it very frustrating last year we were supposed to have record hurricanes, record hurricane season, and really working very diligently. My entire staff, we were really encouraging all of our clients, have a disaster readiness plan ready, do it, have it ready. So you don't have to guess, you're ready to go, and you're not trying to do things after it. And it was so hard to do that. So, again, Barbara's words, this is critical, and thank you. And we will find ways, if you have ways, if you'd like this done again, we can also get this recording out. So just let us know and we'll help you with that. Okay.
Okay. The other point, as you made your comment as well, is that persons think, okay, it's a complicated plan, but you can tailor it based on your stage of development. So it can be as simple as possible, as necessary, and as complex as based on how many departments and how many outlets and so on that you have. So that's what I think maybe some people fear. It's too much work, but then, as you say, you do the preparation and the rest is, easy peasy. And I like the point that you mentioned about the insurance, doing your research and also being prepared for when you make claims, that you are foolproof. Yeah. Sorry, I am very passionate about MSMEs. I've worked a number of years with MSMEs. I also led an SBDC in St. Lucia's. Yeah.
Oh, next time I do the presentation, Barbara, we should do it together. Thank you. You're great.
All the best. Yeah. Bye-bye.
So, and really everybody that's here participating, please do get the word out. We really appreciate that you are here. And again, I know Sharika will do the ending, but don't forget, we have such a great resources here with Apex. If you're looking to get into government contracts and work with the government, it's very specialized. I know a little to be dangerous. That's why I always send them to Apex. If you know somebody that just wants to start out and dabble in this in the small business, we have our other sister facility SCORE. So and there's it's VBOC, and we have a veterans business center that operation that has just opened. They're based in Puerto Rico, but they came out here. They just did a presentation down here. So it's the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico for veterans with a business center focus. So we have all of us working together to strengthen and really watch the areas grow. And the one area I will mention, and I see Ms. Roberts is here. We have the with the agriculture bill that was brought to the Virgin Islands, there's an agriculture plan, and the SBDC, or it's really, we were tapped to host, and we have a separate operation now, and it's the agriculture business center. So anybody that knows farmers or needs any assistance that way, again, it's run separately because SBDC, we're federal, and the agriculture business center is local, but we do the same thing. We don't charge for anything that we're doing for our clients. So just get the word out. We're here, and please ask the questions. Again, thank you for everybody. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sharika.
All right, thank you for that, John. The VI SBDC has so much more in store for you as VI small businesses. You can visit our website at www.vispdc.org. Download the VI SBDC app on your mobile device from the appropriate app store. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google Business, and subscribe to the VI SBDC YouTube channel for new uploads of our on-demand webinars. I'm just going to give a preview of a few events we have coming up, and you can resort to the VI SBDC training portal to register. On the 29th, we have the business plan canvas, designing your entrepreneurial journey. On the 30th, we have safety and health practices for USVI businesses. On June 3rd, we have SBA resources every small business should know. On June 4th, we have VBAC with an introduction to business ownership. On June 11th, we have VBAC presenting again. They're going to be talking about understanding markets and competitive space. On June 12th, we have how to become a federal subcontractor. That will be presented by the VI Apex. On June 13th, we have pivoting for growth, turning challenges into opportunities. On the 17th of June, we have securing an SBA loan for your business, how to get approved. On June 18th, we have VBAC, the economics of small business startup. And on June 20th, we have the ripple effect, how small steps can lead to large wins. Once again, let me give you a friendly reminder to check your email in a few minutes and fill out that training survey that lets us know how we're doing. And we thank you for your time and attendance today on behalf of the entire VI SBDC network. Compliments of our State Director, John Marasco. Please enjoy the rest of your day.